I remember it like it was yesterday. The day it happened. I know he weren't the most liked man around, but they didn't have to do all that dark stuff, now did they? The cost of progress, they told us. The betterment of ye future, they said. They told us it would be just like the old times, but better. And at first, I believed them. Just like the old times, but with HD graphics and quality of life improvements. Never seen a ship sail so fast with that blazing red sail. The sky looked so clear that day. The wind was crisp and clean with sea salt. Ain't a trouble in the world. We never would have guessed what we'd miss till we realized we'd be missing it. They did our boy Tingle dirty that day, and all we did was write, like, little messages that didn't really add to the game at all. I mean, it kind of took us out of the game experience and reminded us we were playing a Wii U game, really. I mean, at least if someone drew a penis or something, maybe it would have been funny, like, I got you, you salty dog. You thought you were gonna get something good, but now you're uncomfy in your nostalgic experience, right? We're playing this whole thing here. But Nintendo wouldn't even let that happen, now would they? Hell, they still don't get that internet gaming isn't even close to a fad. I mean, geez. You ain't even able to reply. You just write poo poo pee pee and throw her out there for some dolphin to find. You get it? This was a GameCube game.
Hey, Captain, I don't mean to interrupt, but I've got to do my review. They're literally waiting for me right now.
Oh, well, shiver me butt crack. Sorry, lad.
Please don't say that again.
Make the good choices now. I'll pick you up at the end of your review. Have a good one, Sonny. Love you. Beat it.
Love you too, Captain. See you then. What a goofball. I still can't believe that phone parry gets that good reception out on the seas. Anyways, hi, Zeta here. Me and the Captain were just talking about game functionality, and it seemed to be a lot more straightforward back in our day, I guess you could say. I mean, when we were kids, all we had to do was slap two pieces of plastic together and it was done. But nowadays, it's like you have to have an app or like some bloatware or some DRM or something. I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure when this whole trend started exactly, because, I tried to tune it out, honestly, but game companies have been doing this for a while now. Some are more on the harmless side, like one might want you to sign up for a newsletter or something like that, while others are badly disguised DRM services that are there to make your experience worse just so they really sure that you bought the game. Even if it's a Steam game, things like EA's Origin or Ubisoft Connect are packaged and required to be run alongside Steam to make sure these companies aren't losing any money. God forbid the richos take a hit. It's cool though, you get a gun skin that looks like a bird all in it. Sorry, I shouldn't say bird. All right, sorry, that's a whole rant and a half. I guess I've been kind of lamenting how, while a lot of games with these crazy peripherals were a bit inconvenient, especially by today's standards, it was something real, if you get what I mean. Like, it was real, it was tactile. Like, hey, you want to play multiplayer? Plug your controller in and let's Mario Kart. Hey, you want to play Pokemon but on your N64? Slap in that transfer pack and get a copy of your Pokemon Yellow and let's freaking catch something with the Dodora Tower or something. What's that little game you got there? Oh, this is my Chow I've been playing with on my VMU. It's a memory card for the Dreamcast, but the game data on it can be used to play minigames. I can play games while I'm not playing games. Man, now you have to connect to the internet just to play multiplayer with someone on the same couch.
So, what does any of that have to do with Tingle, you ask? Well, first of all, it's rude to listen in on other people's phone conversations. Rude? How dare? But I'll tell you anyway. To answer your question, I have to talk about this thing. Hang on, let me bring it up. The GBA GameCube link cable, or GameCube GBA link cable. Either way, it works that way. And trust me, it all comes back to my point in the end. And besides, it gives me an excuse to actually talk about this thing.
Oh man, let me tell you about this thing. This thing was freaking cool for the time. Nowadays, having one device attached to another with a cable is seen as inconvenient and too much effort by, frankly, lazy and boring people, but, I'm not gonna get started on that, though. I'm here to talk about cool stuff. The full name of this thing is the GameCube Game Boy Advance Link Cable. It's kind of a mouthful, eh? I just call it the GameCube GBA cable. It'll save you 2 syllables. It was released in Japan on December 14th, 2001, and in North America around February 11th, 2002 or so. As the name implies, it connects the Nintendo GameCube to the Game Boy Advance and allows it to be used as sort of a second screen for certain games. And some games even went as far as make some exclusive gameplay mechanics just around this thing. Now here's a fun fact for those of you that already know about this cable. This thing was originally meant for the Nintendo 64 disk drive to connect to the Game Boy Color. But seeing as the Nintendo 64 DD didn't really get that big of a release, I thought it didn't get released at all, but apparently it did. The transfer pack was born in its place, and Pokemon Stadium fans know what I'm talking about there. And that was also a very cool little device. So the GameCube GBA cable was compatible with about 60 games and a couple devices in there, like the Game Boy Player. And that was a device that was used to play your GBA games directly on the GameCube. It was sort of a sequel to the Super Game Boy that came out before, just without any of the fun gimmicks of being able to change up the game color palette and draw on it and stuff. Man, I love that thing. Man, we had a lot of really cool accessories in our games. Nowadays, everything's on a smartphone or something. You have to do all this other crap you shouldn't have to.
Hey, how's it going? Let me just say how excited I am to have you in my clutch, in my office, yes, of Sales DOJ.
Yes. I wanted to sign up for the Faux Nostalgia Trite 3000.
Well, hey, you come to the right place. All your childhood memories sold to you for no charge. Just gotta fill out a little paperwork to get started.
Okay, that's a lot of trees.
Just jot down a couple quick pieces of information and we can get started. Gonna need your first name, your last name, your middle name, create a username that uses 3 numbers, a dash, a semicolon, and the Batman symbol, your address, your mother's maiden name, your firstborn's name, your credit card, the rights to your firstborn's soul, and your favorite color. And that's it!
Carpal tunnel.
Oh, not to worry, just put a little big gay on there and you'll be right as rain.
Oh, sick! Oh, God, no, ow, ooh.
Okay, let's see what you got here. Okay.
What do I do? Ew, ow, oh, I hate my life.
Yes. Oh, sorry. This password's way too secure, so you need to use a capital letter, 3 numbers, and a special symbol, but the special symbol has to be a question mark, so you use the right back instead. And what'd you get?
So that's today, and back in the day, it was like this.
Boy, I can't wait for the future to come and make this way more convenient for me.
I'm ranting again, sorry. Okay, joking aside, it's pretty convenient having some modern tech. Anyways, what was I... Oh, right, the GameCube GBA cable. What exactly did this thing do? Well, there's lists out there that'll tell you a lot of them are just ways to unlock new content or something boring like that, which isn't the GBA's cable's fault or anything, to be totally fair. Amiibo's got some of that treatment too, or, a lot of less creative devs are like, what do make use to unlock thing that already is in the game, I guess. Bang to rock together in gameplay. But the games that did use it properly did it pretty freaking well. And let me give you some examples from my childhood. Alright, first up, we got good old Animal Crossing. And we're talking about the OG for the GameCube. When the villagers were rude, the events were stingy with their prizes, and the rare stuff was actually rare. It came out on September 16th in 2002 in the US, and it was the 3rd version of the game in what people considered the first generation of the series. See, there was multiple versions released on different titles. It's basically an updated version of the Japanese version of the game, Animal Forest. And let me tell you right now, this game was a strange title to play. It's not too far off from the Animal Crossing you know today. The console ones, not the mobile ones. No, forget the mobile ones. Sorry, ranting. But it had a lot of really odd nuances and secrets. And some of them are are kind of scary. I mean, God help you if you reset your game, because Rossetti would pop up and bite your head off about it, and he'd only get angrier every time you would do it. Even if the power went out, nope, that counts. Not to mention if you traveled to another person's village and forgot to save while you were there. Yeah, you learn real quick what a Haniwa is. Come to think of it, this kind of explains why people keep making those cute retro that's actually horror games. You know, like you sit down, you're about to enjoy yourself, and then suddenly, you know, blood, guts, and oh, hey, that's gore of my comfort character. Great, thank you for that. But yeah, you played this game by its rules or else, and honestly, we kind of loved it. It was great. Anyways, I could go on and on and on about Animal Crossing. It was one of my fixations as a kid. All you need to know is if you've played a mainland Animal Crossing game, it's the same deal. You do errands, pluck weeds, fall into a pitfall, catch a rare fossil fish that's never been seen in years. You know, sell everything for profit to pay off your debt to Tom Nook so you can upgrade your house and get right back into debt.
How oddly American for this Japanese game.
So yeah, in short, you move to a new place with little to no money and no plan on where you're going to move. It was just a little too real. My canon was always that you're a runaway kid or something, and there you are, you know. The GameCube GBA cable had quite a few really neat functions for this game alone, and you can do most of them right after getting your house even. So here I am, paying for my house with the equivalent of like a quarter and some pocket lint. 1,000 bells is not that much at all. And Nook over here, this guy, he's so greedy and nasty that he gives it to me for free and says,
It's cool. You need a place to stay and I get a job opening. So pay off the house whenever you want. Or don't. It's all good. Yes.
what a greedy bastard.
Guy gives you a house for free and tells you, oh, hey, you know, I don't know you, but here's a house. Pay me back when you can. Or just don't. You know what? Hey, look, I see you. You were already a pal. And, you know what? I thought the Raccoon Goon thing was funny. I mean, he laughed, I laughed. It was great. Y'all can keep your nostalgic horror games. I'll be over here having some sake, or coffee in this case, with my homie Oni. Thank you very much. Oh, that's good.
So after getting our part-time job at Nook's, we can finally check out those cable functions. So firstly, I roamed around a little bit, came across the Able Sisters store, and this would be our first stop. For those that don't know, this is the place in the game that allows you to make custom textures via the game's in-game tools. You can then save them and use them to make your own custom clothes and flags and such. So basically, in-game, you can pay a small amount of bells for some supplies to make a custom pattern, which I cannot afford because I decided to move to a different place with no money and no real estate plans, and I'm dirt broke because I gave it all to Nook, so, you know.
But there is a way.
See, if you had a GameCube GBA cable, you had the option to download the tools to your GBA and do it for free. And you can make as many as you want. Well, you know, up to 8. That's your character's capacity. I know that doesn't sound like much at all, and you're right, but it was really cool to be able to do that and do something else. Maybe you had a sibling that wanted to play, and it's like, you know what, okay, you play, I'll design some stuff for myself. Or maybe you want to go to the bathroom. I'm not the only one that uses the bathroom for mobile game time, am I? And by mobile game, I mean like, you know, Game Boy and stuff. I mean, what else are you going to do while you're there, you know? And since you could make more than one, you could save a stack of bells and it could keep you occupied for a while. Just, well, you know, mind your batteries, of course, because, you know, if you don't transfer them back, then it's all moot. But this is just one small example of how this thing was used. Another function was to access your version of Animal Island. Before New Horizons was even a concept, each save file had its own island that was only accessible via connecting your GBA to the GameCube. And nowadays, I can't stand locking parts behind games like that, you know, because, you know, game devs love to do that for some reason. But that sign right there next to the pier, that was the whole catalyst for me getting the cable. So, well done, Nintendo. I am sold. So, when it's hooked up and turned on and everything, you could talk to Cap'n here on the pier, because he's a pier right here, and he'd take you to your island. which has its own villager and some exclusive items, such as coconuts and a few Hawaiian-style shirts that you could take back with you to the mainland. Not only that, but there's a little virtual pet game that you can do on the GBA only. You can also trade your island if you want to, apparently. There's lots of ins and outs to this game that the game never tells you about. I recommend checking out a video by LK Gaming called Animal Crossing's Animal Island Minigame, an unofficial guide, for more info on that. Here's a link. Because they're like the one person that actually decided to dive into what this thing does. And it's kind of great. It's kind of neat learning about this as someone who was fixated on this game for a good long while back and for a long time. I didn't even realize there was a whole game there. I remember messing around with it, but I didn't know there was a game. It didn't tell me. So yeah. Nothing like taking a vacation on the first day on the job. If only we didn't work for such a greedy pig of a boss. So after swinging by the police station and claiming all the lost and found items as mine, and yes, that is a thing you can do, because apparently Booker here got his way onto the police force by exchanging 12 cereal box barcodes for a real plastic badge, and they're like, all right, yeah, you're in. I suddenly remember I have a job, so it's back to Nooks. Right, I forgot I took my work uniform off in favor of the custom clothes. It's cool though, he lets me wear things and blames himself for being behind the times. I mean, what a greedy bastard.
We really did not deserve Nook. Hey, here you go. Here's Nook-san. Kanpai.
Yet another thing you could do with the GameCube GBA cable was e-reader compatibility. Crap, now I have to explain another accessory while I'm explaining this one. Okay. Bear with me. Mini synopsis. Let's do this quick. In a nutshell, the Nintendo e-reader was an add-on released in the US on September 16th, 2002. It had an LED scanner that scanned e-reader cards that have whole strings of data in this dot matrix format on them. You could download things to the e-reader through the cards, and it was freaking cool. It wasn't on the e-reader, it was on the card. And that was mind-blowing. I had one, but I couldn't use it for Animal Crossing because I come from a family that broke even. And, you know, if you're familiar with my earlier reviews, I might have mentioned that. So I got the cheaper and stupid in-tech version with the edgelord wings and blocked me from plugging it into the e-reader because these stupid wing things are in the way. But luckily for me, with today's tech, I was able to emulate it.
And that alone is a reason why we should protect the efforts to preserve old games in this manner. So shout out to the people on the Dolphin emulator.
So yeah, there were e-reader cards that you could use for Animal Crossing to get a number of things. And there were a lot of these cards too. About 328 or so, in booster packs and everything. Just like Pokemon cards. And yeah, you heard me right, 328. Dang. What could you do with them though? Well, according to Nookopedia, which is not a comprehensive wiki on Limp Bizkit and what they do it for, there are 7 types of cards. The first type is character cards, and physically speaking, they have a bunch of info printed on them about the villager that's also printed on there, like their pet phrase and their star sign and a bunch of other stuff. They would have a letter enclosed when you scanned them on the e-reader on its own. But if you had it hooked up to the GameCube with Animal Crossing running, you can get a totally different letter, usually with a piece of furniture that's from the set that the villager would usually have. So in this case, Bob, my main man here, has the kitty furniture set, so he sent over a kitty clock. And in addition, they also had a password that if you put it in a letter and send it to any villager, they'll also send an item. However, if you sent the password to the same villager on the card, there's a chance that you would get an NES game instead. And yeah, again, you heard me right. A whole NES game. And I'll be back to talk about that more in a little bit, so don't worry. There was a variant of character cards called sibling cards too, which are the same idea, except they have 2 codes instead of just 1. There were also Town Tune and Design cards, both of which can be used in their respective places. That is the Town Tune board and the Able Sisters to get a song or pattern based on what's on the card. There are also these game cards, which weren't used in Animal Crossing, not this version anyway, but they were used in the 2 Japan variants of Animal Crossing. Basically, they had mini-games on them, and you could earn furniture by playing them as well, and, by scoring a certain amount. Each game had 2 versions as well, so they even mix it up a little bit. In order to play, you'd have to scan character cards, each of which had their own stats that play in the game. Hang on. Man, that sure would have been cool to get in the US, eh, Japan? Huh? Come on. No region exclusive. No. Sucks. And finally, there were the classic game cards and the promo sample card. The sample card would provide an easy way to get the song KK Sky in-game. And the 2 classic game cards were used to get Ice Climbers or Mario Bros. As a piece of furniture.
Man, God be with you if you get addicted to cardboard. Because, wow, there was a lot to scan. Man, I miss how games used to do this with physical media. I know I keep bringing it up, but if this was released today, it would be like for a limited time. Like it'd be some sort of FOMO crap, where it's like, oh, you got a week to get the thing. You gotta get the game now, but if you don't, it's gone forever. At least until somebody hacks the game and actually makes the content available anyways, because it turns out it was actually locked in the game rather than away from the game. So hey. As opposed to, scanning cards and one time, anytime, at any point, for free. Well, okay, given you had to actually buy the cards, but, if you knew a friend, then it was definitely free. And on that note, you could actually use the cards more than once on multiple accounts, also for free. All right. Don't get me started on how physical media is, and always has been, superior. And don't at me, that is the correct opinion.
Okay, enough about the cards. Let's revisit that NES game thing that I was talking about. Yet another function was to download NES games directly to your GBA's RAM and play them on there. Yeah, you heard me. Whole NES games. And this, kiddos and cadets, was before the Virtual Console and all of that existed. So old games were either played the usual way, or this was during a time when they were hidden as Easter eggs in bigger games and newer games as secrets you could find. The NES items in Animal Crossing were really, really rare to get, too. So just finding one, that was a frickin' treat. And it blew my freaking mind when I got my first NES game, because that meant there was a whole library of games hidden within a bigger game. This was a big deal. And you could play the game normally on the GameCube, but for some reason, some madman over at Nintendo is like, yes, but what if you could also download it to your GBA and play it? That right there is peak gimmick fun. Oh yeah. All right, let me show you. Let's give WarioWare a go. Let's see. So luckily I have a list of codes here that you can tell Nook, or optionally a villager, via letter to get certain items. Don't mind me. I'm just writing an advert about Tom Nook's shop here. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, these codes were typically given out in magazines and, other kinds of real-world ways. But unlike today's FOMO model that is terrible and bad, these codes still work 22 years later. Holy crap, it's been 22 years? Frick. Okay, let's enter this thing. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Boy. Man, I forgot how long these codes are. Holy cow. Man, when we wanted secrets, we broke out the pen and paper for these things and wrote an essay in code. And you better make sure that you write it down correctly and specify between lowercase l's and uppercase i's. Or you gotta do it again, chump. So yeah, WarioWare, finally, yes! I grew up on the SNES version of this game, so I wonder how this one... Crap. I forgot. It only works with some of the games, because the GBA had limited RAM to carry it, and WarioWare is a little too big. Okay, so we'll have to try another game. Alright, back to Nook's list. NES Golf. Okay, that one should fit. That's gotta be small enough. Code. Oh, okay, confession. First error you saw in this video was just a bit. But IGN is over here with the very issue I joked about. This isn't a lowercase L. This is an uppercase I. All right, correct that. Thank you for not blanking the entire thing. Look. Right, finally, golf. Let's take it home and slap it on the floor and download it to the GBA and play. All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. I hate NES golf. So yeah, man, Animal Crossing was a weird game, especially the OG. I mean, it still is kind of quirky, but the OG was really quirky. And the GameCube GBA cable working into this whole thing somehow adds to the overall mysteriousness of it, because it's like, why do I need this? What else is in it? I mean, was it necessary? No. Was it fun? Hell yeah. I mean, we've even got add-ons working with add-ons. You'd have your e-reader plugged into your GBA, and then you'd have the cable smacked on the top of this going to your GameCube, and then you'd be scanning cards. It's just like, content. Yeah. Gameplay. I really like this thing, in case you didn't know. Sorry, my mind's all over the place. Oh hey, speaking of things that are all over the place mentally, you ever wonder what a game based on ADHD would be like?
Okay.
Let me tell you about WarioWare.
Okay, I know I said Animal Crossing is weird, but this one might be weirder. Maybe in a different flavor of weird, but it was definitely weirder. WarioWare Incorporated Mega Micro Games. It was released on Game Boy Advance in Japan on March 21st, 2003, and later in the US, May 26, 2003. And apparently it was inspired by a minigame found in Mario Artist Polygon Studio for the Nintendo 64 DD. Anyways, the minigame was called Sound Bomber, and me just learning this as I was writing the strip, wow. Yeah, right off, I can recognize the boombox and everything. Huh. I thought the Nintendo 64 DD was never released, but it apparently was, but only in Japan, in very small quantities. I just learned two things at once. Yeesh. But yeah, the inspiration is super obvious, and this first entry was a big hit, and it spurred a new line of games for Nintendo. I still remember my first encounter with this game at Walmart. You know when they used to actually put the consoles out there and you could play some? Yeah, that was great. Speaking of cool peripherals. It was weird because my first impression turned me off from the game, because I thought it was just controlling weird or something. It's like, oh, some kid got peanut butter in the buttons or something. But I still got it later on a blind faith jump, just buy the game because I have a feeling I'm gonna like it. And so I got it, and then it all made sense. Oh yeah. Man, but how do you describe a game like what genre is this?
Night monkey. Autumn. Oh no.
I think whoever put it on Wikipedia didn't have a clue either, because it's listed as 5 genres at once: action, party, puzzle, rhythm, and sports. And the crazy thing is, they're not even wrong. So let me try to explain the game real quick, just right quick. So basically, you have a number of genres or levels, and these genres have sets of microgames, which are basically minigames but even smaller. You have to clear each one after the other, with the microgames not only getting faster but getting harder as you go. You get a point whether you succeed or fail, but if you fail you lose a life, and if you lose all 4 lives, it's over. The objective is to try to reach the goal score and clear the genre. And along the way, you'd unlock a whole bunch of other mini-games, which are basically microgames a bit longer. But the replay value comes in getting high scores on everything and collecting the full set of each genre's microgames.
When I was writing the script, I actually forgot how much I fixated on this freaking game. Just like I fixated on Animal Crossing, it just had me. So, now that you have an idea of what WarioWare is, hang on, my cat's about to girthquake. Hi, Keenie. Alright, here he comes. He's gonna want butt slaps or something. Hi, Keenie. Girthus. before my cat distracts me some more, let me tell you about where you can find WarioWare in other places. That being Wario World, Mega Party Games, and the Nintendo GameCube preview disc. And the thing.
Okay, first we got Wario World. Wario World is an action platformer with beat-em-up gameplay in spades. It was released in the US on June 23rd, 2003, and it was developed by Treasure, which is a very Wario-coded name for a company, actually. If they sound familiar, then odds are you've heard of their first game, Gunstar Heroes, or maybe Mischief Makers, Shake Shake, or Stretch Panic, speaking of weird games. Anyways, if ever there was a game that encompasses Wario's personality, I'd say it's this one. It's loud, it's obnoxious, and it's a power trip of greed and wrath. And it's always over way too soon. The idea of the game is you go through each level, beating the crap out of everyone and everything, with punches and throws and pile drivers and a spin that would make Vinny Vine Sauce proud. Man, I love this game. You just feel how much fun Charles Martinet had making these lines. I mean, listen. Easy, Wario. Okay, he's having a little too much fun.
Sorry.
But yeah, in each level you can collect a bunch of different things. You got statue pieces to increase your health, red diamonds to unlock the boss, spritlings for ending stuff. Spoilers. And of course, treasures. And this is a mechanic in like every Wario ever, getting all the treasures. In this game, they unlock something a little weird though. I mean, weird even for Wario. You get all 8 and you unlock one of 8 WarioWare demos. Yeah, there's 8 WarioWare demos in this game. And that also means there's only 8 levels in the whole game itself, not counting the 5 big bosses. Like I said, very short game. Anyways, how do you play the demos though? Well, seeing as WarioWare is a GBA game, you plug it in and you turn it on, and you go to one of the 8 icons and you interact with it in the most Wario way possible by punching and scream.
I'm number 1.
What's kind of fascinating about these demos though is they have some really odd quirks. For those that have played WarioWare before, you'll really notice this. First we have the left 4, Wario, Jimmy, 9volt, and Mona. These are characters from WarioWare for those that don't know. Apparently they're Wario's friends or something. I remember first seeing Jimmy and saying something like, "Is that like a Bizarro Wario? Why are their lips so supple? The kissy." Anyways, these 4 are 4 versions of a demo of the main game, and they play as you would expect in the endless mode of the full game. A set of microgames that get faster and faster until you fail. You clear some games, it gets faster up to 3 speeds, but then the speed resets and the difficulty goes up, making the games harder. And if you're at the maximum level of 3, the game, instead of slowing back down to normal, will instead speed up from there, and you'll play level 3 faster and faster and faster until you're out of lives. That's basically how it goes. One key difference though is that there's no boss micro games, which are basically a finale game you play in the main game to clear a genre. Typically, even on Endless, you would still play against the boss minigames, or microgames, sorry. I always get those two confused. And beating one would net you an extra life, up to the max of 4. So other than that, right off, you'll notice there's some really odd stuff going on with audio. Or probably more so if you play the full game. I don't know if this is an emulator thing, but version 1 and 3 here had no audio at all. The audio you hear right now is Wario World in the background. Sorry. It was the quietest place I could find in the game, and I couldn't mute the game without muting the GBA too. So it was like, well, what can you do? But the other 2 do, and they actually have some beta versions of some of the songs and sounds you hear in the final version. Now, on top of that, some of them have different songs than the full version too. So, as someone who's playing these demos for the first time for this review, and has played the full version borderline religiously, let's be real. It's quite a trip hearing them for the first time. Another oddity is the genres they chose. Wario and Jimmy have the same ones they do in the Final Cut, which are introduction and sports microgames, respectively. But 9volt here has games from the strange genre, which in the Final Cut he has Nintendo genre games. But what's really goofy is the fourth one is Mona, and her genre in the final game is supposed to be strange. So it's kind of funny seeing her here with not the strange ones, but two completely different genres instead, sci-fi and nature.
I mean, you think Mona would have had the strange genre because they put the strange genre games there, and she was right there, and 9volt would have whatever Mona had, but maybe they were still figuring out how everything was going to come together in the end. I don't know. Honestly, all the genre confusion would make more sense if you've actually played the game. And if you haven't, you really should, because it's excellent.
Then there's the other half of the demos you can unlock, but here's something really odd. Each one is a single microgame each. And in the final cut of the game, each microgame has 3 difficulties, level 1, 2, and 3. And when you play in grid mode, you can pick one microgame to play over and over and over and over again, with it getting faster and faster until you fail. And you can earn a little flower on each one if you clear a certain score with each. So the formula goes like this. You play level 1, level 2, level 3, and then it goes back to level 1, but the speed picks up. And it rinse and repeat. And this continues until you're out of lives, and you get your score. However, here, they do something that's not in the final game, which to me is pretty wild just learning about this as I'm writing the script. Take this microgame here, right here. So you dodge the balls and don't get crushed. Easy. So it starts off normal. You play level 1, level 2, level 3, and the balls, they increase in each level. But then instead of speeding up and it going back to level 1, there's a level 4, then a level 5, then a level 6. And then it speeds up, but instead of resetting to level 1, it stays at level 6 and continues to speed up until you fail. So it makes me wonder if the final version was meant to have all 200-something microgames have more and more difficulties in the same vein. So then check out the second game here. So the idea is you have a number of shots equal to the amount of ships on screen. So basically, if you miss or don't get all the ships, you fail. So instead of having 3 levels, or 6 levels like the other minigame, there's 10. Yeah, you have to shoot 10 of those things before it starts speeding up. And I only got to see that because if you fail in microgame, you still get a point and the difficulty still ramps up like normal. So doing 5 of those is hard enough. And then the third game is even weirder because it only has 3 levels, like you would expect. I don't know why that's the weirdest one to me at this point, but yeah, it's the weirdest one for me. So yeah, the gimmick for these 4 microgames specifically is only found in these demos on WarioWare. I didn't know this was a thing the whole time until literally writing this script. This is kind of why I like doing these reviews, because it challenges me to find out something new, and then I find something like this, it's like, what?
Okay, so that's not really a huge thing compared to Animal Crossing's billion features, but it's such an oddity I thought I'd include it anyways. Oh, speaking of, by the way, did you know that they ported WarioWare to the GameCube? Well, sort of, but let me talk about that just a second.
WarioWare Mega Party Games was released on April 5th, 2004 in the US. And this was really weird because it's a new game, but they literally just ported over the GBA microgames to here as is, but with some HD sounds and graphics for the UI. And admittedly, when I first got this one, I was a little disappointed because I was expecting a new game and everything, because the single player is really just the same deal with less unlockable toys and games on the side. But the real fun that this game had was multiplayer, and I happened to actually look out and have some folks to play that with, and it was great. Basically, you had a variety of mini games with different gimmicks that were based around the micro games.
So why am I bringing this up on a game that's about the GameCube GBA link cable? Well, you can use your GBA as a controller because it's literally just WarioWare just on the GameCube. Like, just there it is, And it's extra goofy because Mega Party Games doesn't mention that you can do this anywhere except on the back of the box. I'll probably show you an image. I don't have it prepared here. You can barely see it. like cyan on white or white on cyan is not exactly, you know, conducive to reading. Conducive? Why did I say it that way? But wait! What if I told you there was a 9th demo of WarioWare? Yeah, there's a 9th one. And for that one, we have to go to the Nintendo GameCube preview disc. So, let's go.
The GameCube preview disc was a demo disc that was released around 2003, and it showcased a number of game demos and videos as well. Man, now here's a nostalgia trip. I don't know why, but demo discs always seem to make me even more nostalgic than the games themselves. Maybe it's because they carry a bit of that current era's flavor, or maybe it sparks that response of, oh, yo, new game's coming, here you hype! And you get to see a bit of like beta footage or something that you haven't seen before, I guess. So yeah, on this disc there was indeed 2 demos that you could get only if you used the GameCube GBA cable. Dr. Mario and, you guessed it, WarioWare. So what's odd about this one? Well, it starts off normal enough. It's basically the same as the first version of the demo from Wario World, except with sound, so you can hear more of that sweet beta sound. But something goofy happens if you manage to make it to 21 points or so. So the CM flashes on the little screen there. I don't know what that stands for, but then the demo starts pitching you the game as you play. I guess CM is short for commercial, because the demo starts pitching you the game as you play. It feels like I'm playing one of those 90s commercials. This is almost subliminal. But once you clear the microgames again, it goes back to normal. So it just happens.
And that is probably the most WarioWare thing that you could possibly do. And I mean that with no exaggeration. It's Wario selling you the game while you're playing the game. And man, I love this. I love this series. I really do. It gets me, and I get it, you know? But yeah, that's just only 2 examples of how this cable was used. Was it necessary? No. But was it fun? Yeah. Yeah, it was. And you know what? It still is.
Man, what a trip. I want to go back and play these demos just to see if I can find anything else that's odd, or, you know, again, beta items that you won't see in the full games.
I didn't even go over how, you know, Four Swords Adventures was literally based around this thing. I mean, that's kind of the de facto GameCube GBA cable game, if you will. Because that's how you would play multiplayer, is you'd have the main screen up here, and then if somebody went into a room or something, you know, assuming this is like your GBA, they would be playing down here. So it's kind of like a predecessor to the DS, which is sort of a predecessor to the Wii U.
Oh, hey, speaking of Zelda, there's Wind Waker. Oh, wait, that's...
But did you remember to unlock the incredible new dimension of gameplay offered in the most recent Zelda epic? By connecting the Game Boy Advance to the Nintendo GameCube, you and a friend can open a whole new world of special treasures and abilities for Link to use on his quest.
I didn't know they had a video on here. You know what's funny? When I was making this review, I didn't realize that there was a video on that disc that was advertising the very thing that I was going to go on a rant about. I have a bit of a vendetta here because the Tingle Tuner is a bit of a sore spot for me. They did my boy Tingle dirty. But that'll have to be for another video. Because I've got some unfinished business to attend to. Oh, what time is it? Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, I've got to go. My boat's about to get here. So until next time, thanks for playing.
Sing me that song there, me boy, to help us pass the time as we sail.
Already, I'll give it a try. Feel free to laugh, though, if it sounds bad. That's why I'm here. On gimmicks and large chunks of plastic tech.
Oi!
No online, no subscribe, gaming's finest.
Oh, dang.
A cable and handheld, who would have thought this?
Oi!
Two-screen view, boy and cube, like the DS.
Oh, dang.
Boy, sailing on the boat makes me crave cheese and crackers. I used to eat them all the time with my grandpa when we'd go fishing on the lake for bass.
Me too. It'd be the best. All right, next verse line.
Cake and cheese and ice cream, American dream.
Yeah.
Round like cat, feed my fat. Thanks for playing.
Yes.
Thanks for playing.
Oh, dang.
Alright, well, that was cringe.
Hey, wait up! I forgot to tell you about our early access game called Fart Crate. It's guaranteed to be a hit on the review show, my guy.
Oh,
We can pay
God,
top
this
dollar
guy.
in exposure.
No, we already have plenty of demos and games.
Who'll be that Zeta?
Sorry, it's some sales douche trying to sell me things again.
I remember this one. There'd be no talking to that Bill Trad. He'd be trying to talk to me about my ship's extended warranty for
Oh, hey,
years.
Captain. I've been trying to reach you on your parrot, but I think the battery might be dead.
Look, Captain, why didn't you just shoot him?
I didn't think of that. You know what? Fire away, you dirty video game man.
All right, get going, Shill Lord.
Wait, I don't have insurance. Oh, God!
Now there'd be a game worth playing. Onwards to wait the wins.
Thanks for playing.